because we do not live to trick the search bot, but we're always looking to serve people, our SEO is more timeless.
Yeah.
That's the key. Don't go and do marketing and SEO trying to trick a computer. Serve people, and Google is going to reward you with better ranking because you're out there to serve their people, which is going to make them happier, which is going to get Google more search volume.
Hey everybody, Daniel Ramsey here with Scale the Podcast. Today's guest is Cliff Stoltzfus. He is the CEO and founder of LifeX Marketing. We are talking SEO, marketing, agencies, Storybrand, which is a fantastic framework. He's going to break down exactly how to tell your story as an entrepreneur and leader in your industry. I just kind of want to get to know you a little bit. Tell me about your business. Like, when did you hire us? You know, how's that going? I'm just curiosity, you know?
It would actually be just over a year since I hired our first VP. So it'd been April where I hired Judah, and he did so well for us that we were like, well, we're going to have to do a little bit more of this. So this past year was a bit of a crazy year for us in that just with COVID, we didn't know where it would go. Would we need to downsize where, you know, and it turned out to be a year where we grew like almost 180%. So yeah, it was far more than we expected. And so we needed to be able to scale our processes, what we got done, how we got it done. And like I said, Judah was our first VP and he did very well and helped us get a number of things in place that we didn't have before. And so, it was, that's awesome. It was big, but we're not a very old company though. We started in 2016.
Okay. That's great. Where in the world are you?
We're in Pennsylvania.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And how many virtual professionals do you have now?
Two.
Okay.
And in that regard, I've helped one of our clients hire another virtual professional just to get him set up with that. So the power of that is big, and we all work virtually. All of us in the company work from home, so it fits well with our existing model.
That's awesome, man. And how did you get started in this marketing world? Like, how did you decide to do that?
I'm an Enneagram 3, and so I love challenges. I like the ever-changing and competitiveness of the market. I think is where it's at, and so it's not an easy question to answer because I've always dabbled a little bit in it with the different businesses I was involved in or worked for in the past. And so when this opportunity came up, it officially started with drone videography and morphed into going the marketing direction and offering websites and monthly services. A lot of people come to us because of what we call Storybrand or the Storybrand framework. I don't know if you're familiar with that concept, but
I've read his
revolution.
Books. What's the guy's name? I'm spacing on the guy's name, but he created that framework. Yeah, exactly. Don Miller. What a great, and I've listened to a bunch of his podcasts.
Yeah, just, you know, it's almost frustrating, you know, when people obviously much smarter than myself go and they see something that works out there and they're like, you know, okay, I'm gonna make a business out of this. And it's a great concept, but it's nothing new. It's taking story and putting it into marketing. And that's so powerful. If I would say there's one big thing that contributed to our growth over the past few years, it's been the combination of Storybrand and the right type of marketing, which we obviously, that's our job, is to make sure that we make the right recommendation to the customer. But we were certified to use the Storybrand framework under Don, and that has been so powerful for our clients. In fact, we're at a place where if someone is not willing to do the Storybrand, we recommend they go elsewhere, just because we know we'll be able to get a far better return for them if we take that framework and do it right.
Okay, so now we're getting into it because I love it. So walk me through, pretend I'm a customer, walk me through the Storybrand process. Like, and we're thinking, let's say somebody's just watching this podcast or listening to the podcast. Let's walk them through what it would be like for them to create their story for their business. What does that look like, Cliff?
Yeah, I'll try to surmise this well. So many companies struggle to talk about what they do themselves, and they don't because it's not because they're not experts in their own business. They know their business better than anyone else. But that's the problem, because as a customer, I make a buying decision at, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, you're a level 10 with your company, and the customer starts their journey obviously at 1. And
Right.
you know that when it comes to your business, you know that I'm not up there with you. So you make an attempt to dumb it down for me, which is important. And I try to learn what I can about your company before making that decision. There's a gap in there. And Lee Lefevre talks about in his book, The Art of Explanation, that there's a gap, it's the curse of knowledge, but between 3 and 6, that he said research has shown that's where people, like, that's how much is missing between the person who's trying to sell and the person who's trying to buy. And so they just disappear because they don't understand. So what that looks like with this framework is some of the questions we ask are, who does your customer want to become? And then what is it that they want? And those questions are pretty easy to answer. You know, we know, I mean, who do they want to become is a little harder, but what do they want? It's what you sell. But then we dig into the problem. What's that internal, external, and philosophical problem? And for example, an external problem might be, let's say you want to sell me a car, just for example. We'll pick on car salesmen. And you know, I might need to replace my car or buy a new one because it's damaged or not running well. That's an external problem. The internal problem is actually why I'm buying. And that's because I feel like an idiot when I drive down the street and my car doesn't work well or it doesn't look good. It embarrasses me. So I don't feel good. And that's actually why many people buy. And so getting that right is very crucial. Then the philosophical is just your empathetic statement saying, you shouldn't have to drive a car that embarrasses you wherever you go.
Right.
And then this is kind of the pivotal moment. The next step is the guide. It's what we call the guide. And it's the first time we actually talk about you, or the first time we talk about me as the product. And that's the paradigm shift that so often happens, is we talk about us first and the customer second. But in the framework, this framework helps us get over ourselves, is what I like to say. But it puts the customer first and us second. Right. And the customer's the hero, we're the guide. And then the rest of the framework just walks you through that. Like, here's how we help you. Here's a plan. And here's the action you should take. And then this is what life will look like when you take those actions. And so when we walk a company's messaging through that framework, I want to say every time, I have to go back and look at all my analytics, but in so many situations, almost every time that I can think of, we've seen conversion rates go up. We've seen more time engaging with the marketing material, better lead quality. That was a big one. You know, we have some clients that, like, referrals was their biggest lead. When they engaged with Storybrand and the proper types of marketing, their lead quality switched away from referrals to through their marketing. And it's so powerful. And a lot of people are catching on to that story. It's really important that I don't talk about me first. That's right. the concept. And it's really like any relationship you have with a friend. You know, the people you enjoy hanging out with are not people who are always talking about themselves. They're people who take an interest in you and actually dig into, ask you questions and draw you out. That's the people you enjoy. And why would our marketing be any different? You know,
I love it. It's interesting because we have a large sales team and I'm constantly on them about asking open-ended questions, right? And one of my favorite, lines is, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them in proportion, right? Use them in proportion. Yeah. Listen twice as much as you talk, and you're gonna be fine in sales. I'm curious, the lead quality question. Mm-hmm. Let's deep dive on that. Mostly because as you're growing a business and you cross the $1 million in revenue mark, you have to change your marketing focus, and it all becomes around, attracting business versus chasing business. Below $1 million, you're chasing. Give me your referrals. Let me, and you're out there just kind of scrambling around. You cross the $1 million mark, all of a sudden your marketing needs to shift. Lead quality becomes the most important kind of metric to measure. Speed to lead for your sales team, and then conversion rates. Like this is the where all the love happens, where you go from $1 million to a $10 million company. That's that journey that everybody goes on, right? Help me understand how story can, dramatically change lead quality for a business.
Yeah. So often when we go to market, we present our product, and let's say, think of a good example here. Let's say we're selling an outdoor living space, would be an example of one of our clients. When you're in a high-end market,
yep.
There's a saying that's this: humor is for the masses, drama is for the elite. When it comes to your marketing messaging. But let's say if I'm going to spend $100 on a product, I'm going to have a different attachment to that product than I am going to have if I'm going to sell $100,000. I'm going to put $100,000 into something I'm going to buy. So in the case of the outdoor living space company, where their specialty was, let's say, about $150,000 per outdoor living space, it's a really fancy space. What we wanted the messaging to come clear in was that you're going to host great parties. You're going to love spending time outside. You're going to have your favorite go-to place, all of that.
So when we drama, how is that drama though?
Well, the drama side, essentially in that space, we don't use humor, or we're very careful with it. So we don't always use drama in the marketing so much as that we're careful not to use the humor as quickly.
Lead quality is a really important metric. So how can story influence a company that's on that $1 million journey lead quality score? Yeah.
So really, Storybrand contributes so much of that, because the first principle is clarity. We have to be clear in what we're talking about. Cut out the fluff, cut out the insider speak, cut out all the extra things that we try to do to add maybe some character that isn't there, but cut out that. Let's talk clearly. In fact, the rule here with clarity is that if a 6-year-old can understand it, then it's probably clear enough, but it needs to get really close to that.
It's so funny because when I hire consultants, and you love this because we hire consultants, and I'm like, hey man, I don't understand. Treat me like I'm 5, and just explain it to me. And what's funny about that question is, I think it makes the other person realize, hey, if he doesn't understand it, then the market's not going to understand it. And that's what's important. Right. That's why Trump won the presidency, because he speaks at a 2nd to 3rd grader level. And that's what's important.
Yeah, it makes such a huge difference. And so that brings it to the next point, is all of that clarity improves the lead conversion, because the customer is further along in the relationship through your marketing. So think of it, a dating relationship here. You go on 1 date, you cover this much ground. 2 dates, you get to know each other better. 3 dates, and it continues on. If your marketing also has that proper relationship where we're talking, we're asking the right questions, we're touching on the right pain points, we're we have a clear path to success for the customer. They come to our clients. In this case, they're coming through their marketing. They come to our clients, and they're ready to buy now because of the difference in that understanding and that clarity. And then the last point I would say to this, and why it helps lead conversion, is it helps us paint an aspirational picture. So often we miss this part of our marketing where we talk about, hey, this is the pain points it will solve, and here's how you get it. But then we forget to tell people what life looks like on the other side. You're going to have more time, or you're going to have a beautiful space to relax, or you're going to love driving after this. paint that picture for the client, because they actually do want to know, am I just going to pay you $100,000, or am I going to have an incredible life because of this? We all have our part to play in that, of course. And it's not as easy as paying someone $100,000, or as difficult, whatever. Paint that aspirational picture, and they will, again, go further in that relationship with you.
Yep.
I would say those three things are probably the key.
I love it. We have a client, his name's Brian, and I know he won't mind me sharing this. He owns a bunch of franchises. He came to us, and him and his brother owned multiple million-dollar businesses, and neither of them had an assistant. And we start diving into what they're doing, and they're like doing, ordering inventory and payroll stuff and website stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, guys, you got to hire somebody. You need an assistant. And he's like, okay, I'll try it. Right.
Yeah.
But here's what was cool about the conversation was I was like, hey, you need to focus on buying more real estate and buying more franchises, because that's where you're really going to drive revenue. You got to stop this inventory crap, and you got to stop these little, nonsense jobs that you're doing, so you can focus on more. So literally last week, I saw a post where he bought 7 more franchises, and these are big. This is a big deal. So he went from, 17 franchises to 7 more in 2 years, hiring virtual assistants. And now they're incredible in all of his stores. And he, he sends me a picture after a couple months, and he's like, dude, I ordered a barn door. I was like, what are you talking about? A barn door? He had this barn door that was missing for like 2 years at his house, and his virtual assistant found the right size, ordered it for him, and it showed up, and it found an installer to do it. And that was his first task that the VA did. And fast forward, and now he's buying more franchises and actually increasing his wealth, which is the goal of every business owner. So what's your story around virtual assistants? You started with one, they were really good. You added another one. I want to hear, in the marketing world, in your business, what can a virtual professional help with that you think is a good ROI?
So our first assignment to them, well, I guess I should back up and say, being in marketing, I think there's potential to hire some assistants with marketing experience, but we actually didn't want that. And the reason was because of Storybrand, and because we're very particular about our SEO principles and concepts, the way we go to market, we wanted to give them our own training. And so as the process goes with us, you spend about 3 to 4 weeks doing almost nothing but going through courses, learning the Storybrand framework, and a lot of other things that go into it. And so our first virtual professional was working in the SEO world. They were doing outreach, essentially research and outreach to other companies, kind of building our sphere of connections so that we could better support our clients. And so there was a big need in that, because there's a lot of very repeatable tasks in marketing. There's stuff that need to be done every month, very consistently, but it's not something that you can write a script for and have done with a computer program. It takes the human side of it, and it's unavoidable. And so with some training around that, it worked really well. And then we hired a second one in, I want to say November of 2020. And they, in that case, Angel, she worked with us on even helping some of our clients with some processes that they needed, like whether it was processing some inventory related things. As a marketing company, we take a few different forms, almost like a CMO sometimes, where we actually go in and do some tasks for them that are not always strictly marketing related. And so that was one where there was a need. And in addition to what we needed to do at LifeX Marketing, the client also needed some tasks done. And so it can be a challenging learning. It can be a challenge to assimilate well into a company, like to find the right fit and the right tasks. we do a lot of content writing, but yet that's not something that is a really good fit for anyone. And so we have a team of copywriters, but then one of the virtual professionals can assist them in publishing, in web development and website maintenance. There's a lot of those tasks that they do very, very excellent at and have done for us.
That's cool. If you were, I'm going to use some of your own Storybrand on you. If you were to go back to the brand new Cliff, the Cliff that had never, hired a virtual professional before, what were some of your concerns, or what were some of your challenges, or what were your preconceived notions that now, after a couple of years, you're like, that didn't actually matter?
For one, I wasn't sure how it would work to even have someone else involved, like so remotely in another time zone, in a very different world, different culture. All of that was something to be considered. But to be fair, I came to MyOutDesk as a referral from a friend who had previously hired a virtual professional, and so he had a great experience. And so I went on his judgment and was like, I'm going to finally take the plunge. But essentially needing to, for myself as a business leader, you can't be using all of your time doing tasks that are repeatable. And I think you say this in your own ebook, which you mentioned, you mentioned the sticky note thing, make a pile of sticky notes, figure out what it is that you're doing that you could actually hand off. It's an important task, but it's something that is repeatable. You can have someone else do it. And that was huge. That was very groundbreaking in that regard.
Yeah, I love it. You're doing my job for me. So if you're listening right now, this is the book that Cliff is talking about. It's Scaling Your Business with Mod Virtual Professionals. The link is right below. You go to our website, myoutdesk.com/scale, and you can get a copy for free. And we love to help people build businesses, and there's a bunch of framework in there, like sticky challenge. There's just a lot of good stuff about hiring virtual professionals and growing a company. Hey, Daniel Ramsey here, and I'm just cutting into this interview because I want to make sure that you know exactly how to go to our website and get a consultation to grow and scale your company with virtual professionals. Jump on our website, myoutdesk.com, and request a consultation. That consultation costs you nothing, and it could help you grow and scale your business today. Again, jump on our website. It's free, and you will get a plan to launch virtual professionals and help you grow and scale your business with MyOutDesk. Cliff, what do you think your return on investment has been?
Ooh, that's a tough one. It's been huge, because it's allowed us to do not just consistent work for our clients, but do more work for our clients. And they've experienced that. I mean, we like to see our clients get at least a 1 to 15 ROI. So if they spend $1, they get 15 back, especially if they're in the organic space. If it's paid advertising, it might be a little less, but that's what we like to see. Being able to do that for some of our clients, even 1 to 100 and 1 to 150 in one case, that kind of thing was made possible because of some of their work. And those people are clients for life. They're the kind of people that are always talking about the success they're having. I can't give ROI a number. It's not possible. But they're critical people. They're valued people in the team. And something that we do with all of our team members is we invest in the team culture, but also in them as a person in the workplace. We want to see them grow and have more skills. So hopefully they don't leave us, but if they would, that they leave a better person in the marketplace. And because of that, they're highly valued. Hopefully they don't go work for someone else.
Dude, that's crazy, man. How did you get so wise? You look all of like 23 or 24. Like I'm not sure how you're pulling this off so well. What I was thinking is, I wonder what tools you had to institute, because you did come to us as a referral. So that was good. And that probably helped you over the hump, saying this company's real and I can trust them. But what did you have to set up for tools in order to make this virtual thing really work well for you?
At the time, we communicate primarily with Slack and Zoom, and those two are already in use. And so our virtual professionals integrated right into that. It was pretty seamless. So didn't really have to add additional ones, but we primarily use Trello, Slack, and email and Zoom, those four. Right. And that worked really well for us. And we continue to use those four.
That's cool. And how often do you meet with your virtual professional? Like, are you doing a weekly one-on-one, a monthly, or like, what's your cadence of connection and coaching?
We have team meetings once a week where we go over the week's, what's on the agenda. Have a couple team elements there in our meeting, as well as planning. And then we have a daily stand-up where we meet, and essentially everyone has, 30 seconds to go over what they're accomplishing, what their focus is for the day, and we part our ways. The idea comes from Patrick Lencioni in his Death by Meeting book. Fantastic author. I highly recommend it. I recommend the book and anything he writes.
Yeah. That guy's got a good storytelling ability. So
fantastic.
Cliff, if somebody is listening, because we have, thousands of customers, all in different level when it comes to marketing. Some are new to it, some are medium to it, some are experienced and maybe don't need your service or product. But for those that are interested in possibly refining their story and exploring a little bit more about how you guys serve and help your customers get that, I like the 1 to 100 or 150 ROI. I like that a lot. How would somebody find you, get in touch with you, and explore your company as an opportunity for them?
Yeah, they could go to lifexmarketing.com. That's the word life, the letter X, marketing.com. And they could contact us through there. That's the best way to start the process. And at that point, it's really exploration to see, are we a good fit for each other? Can we help you? Something that's been critical in us, I haven't always got this right as a leader, but is that we find the right partners, and that we bring people, that we offer to help people who we can get their money back times 10, times 15, times 100. Nothing keeps you and I awake most likely more than an unhappy customer.
Oh yeah.
You don't want that. You want everyone to love what's going on, feel the difference. And really, we care about your money as much as you do, is what we that's the principle we try to live by. That if someone invests $1,500 or $10,000 or $20,000 with us in marketing, that money is safeguarded like it was our personal money. And God's been good to us. We've been blessed in so many ways.
That's so awesome, man. Well, Cliff, thanks for being here today. It's really been awesome to get to know you and hear your story, and love on our audience with your Storybrand framework. I think it's fantastic.
It's a life, business, so many things, life, business changing framework that regardless of where you're at, what vertical you're in, look up, I think you go to storybrand.com. You can sign up for a live workshop. There's a lot of ways to engage, but take even baby steps in engaging with that framework. If your work in that will come back to you, even if you don't hire an agency to help you walk through it. That's what we recommend, but it is not required to get some results with it, and is so valuable. Can't recommend it enough.
Okay, say again why Storybrand and SEO are such a perfect marriage.
So the correct answer is most people think they aren't. But Storybrand and SEO are so powerful because with SEO, Google is looking to serve the end user a great experience, the right thing, the right web page. Storybrand helps that experience by being clear, by being engaging, and getting the right message out there. So SEO says keywords and content and lots of that. Storybrand says less words, be clear, don't be cute, be clear. And and we'll focus on conversion. And so finding that marriage, that proper combination is really challenging, but is like the best thing. It's like dynamite in the hands of a client, because they're able to convert higher with more traffic. And I mean, convert way higher.
Well, and I bet you add paid on top of that, and then you throw some earned, marketing, whether it's email or social. Now you're really cooking with gas, and you can start to see revenue growth.
Correct. Yeah, it applies to any form of marketing. It's just, as Google gets smarter, we saw the biggest results with the SEO, because they're working on always serving a better experience. And people are always thinking, let's trick the search bot. How do we get the search bot to like us? No, get people to like you, and Google will notice, because that's one of their ranking factors, is how people engage with your page. Well, if you engage with Storybrand, you're going to see people actually spend more time engaging with your website. Yeah. And that's a beautiful ranking factor for Google.
Google just changed their algorithm just recently in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
What do you see with that update, and what are you telling your customers who may have dropped a bit in their rankings or had a change to the total traffic coming in?
The focus, the last algorithm change was, or big algorithm change, was on speed. And yep. So it matters. We're not seeing a big impact with that yet, but it's influencing it. With this algorithm change, they announced it ahead of time. So we were focusing on it in Q1 to get ready for that, so that we didn't see that negative thing. But this is where, again, because this is our argument, because we do not live to trick the search bot, but we're always looking to serve people, our SEO is more timeless.
Yeah.
That's the key. Don't go and do marketing and SEO trying to trick a computer. Serve people, and Google is going to reward you with better ranking, because you're out there to serve their people, which is going to make them happier, which is going to get Google more search volume. And that's why it works.
It's an interesting concept. When you think about companies that are doing a holistic, because you said you were kind of like a CMO for many of your clients. When you think of companies that are doing a holistic marketing approach, what are the key tools that you're utilizing for those companies?
In regards to like market research?
Well, here's my thought, right? Teach a person to fish, and you feed them forever. Give them a fish, and then they die because
right.
They starve, right? I'm curious, what's your fishing pole? What are the top 5 tools or 3 tools that you think every large company who's focused on marketing, as a CMO, if you walked in, you'd be like, okay, these guys got it nailed, and we just need to help them with their story, or we need to help them kind of pour gasoline on it with paid or something else. What are the tools that companies should employ if they really want to get into this game?
The main tools actually are free tools, and stop me if I'm going down the wrong path here, but it's like Google Search Console.
Yep.
Google My Business, Google Analytics, those suite of tools. Those 3, it's shocking how many businesses don't have access to those 3 things.
Right.
You need to have that, and make sure you have a pulse on your digital activity as a business. Don't let someone else just make sure you're getting that report, that you know what's going on, because there are, unfortunately, there's methods of marketing that cost a lot of money and don't bring you a dime.
Right.
And yet nobody is holding that company or that form of marketing accountable. They're just like, well, you had traffic. No, did you get more business?
Yeah.
I don't care if you had 10,000 in traffic. If you didn't get more business, it wasn't worth it.
Bad traffic is bad traffic, period. What paid tools would you employ for a company? Let's say they're racing to $1 million, they cross the $1 million mark, and they want to get to 10 million in revenue. What are the paid tools that you employ for those larger companies?
One of the main ones we use for research is Ahrefs. Ahrefs is how some people say it. There's also Moz, and we also use Agency Analytics to do some research and reporting. Agency Analytics is a really good tool for reporting to give a good dashboard and get a good feel for what's happening.
Okay, cool. And what else? What other when it comes to websites, any third-party plugins that you like to add to their stack so that you can kind of measure?
We like to build as much as possible in WordPress. WordPress is our go-to space, but in the inside of WordPress, we like to use Beaver Builder, which is more of a drag and drop builder. It's not the most efficient with code, so some developers don't like it as much, but it does give our clients the ability to go in and in a few seconds edit things on their website that otherwise are very difficult and they'd have to pay a developer to do. Our argument is spend your dollars on marketing that almost takes a lifetime to learn. Don't pay us hundreds of dollars just to make edits on your website. We can do that, and we're happy to do that for you if you want. That's just not the best use of your money.
Or your time as an agency, right? I mean, that's not.
Yeah, well, we tell them we can do it, but then we bill you an hourly rate for that, and someone on your team could probably do it in a few minutes rather than take the time to contact us and then pay us to do it. So we like to build our websites in a fashion that are easy to edit, easy to manage.
Well, dude, you're good at this, by the way. I'm glad to have met you. I really appreciate your time. And if there's anything we can do, MyOutDesk, we're 100% focused on your success. So just let us know.
I appreciate it, Daniel. It was good to meet you. I told Judah and Angel that my virtual professionals, that I'm gonna meet up with the CEO of MyOutDesk, and that's a rare moment. I told them that they can rest assured that I'm feeling pretty positive about their contribution and how MyOutDesk has played a part in our growth. So I appreciate it as well. It's good to make the connection.
Do me a favor, thank them for all that they do for you from me. They'll appreciate that.